Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another morning of stamping. I am Sarah Simon. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Appleton, Wisconsin. And we've got a lot of people who have jumped on already this morning. Hello, Julie from North Dakota. It's cold here too, Julie. We had snow this week. I think you guys did too. We're supposed to get more snow tomorrow. It's like, welcome spring. Dee and Becky and Nancy, Denise, Lori, Kay and Myra and Lisa and Sarah and Amanda. I think there's probably some Facebook people here. I should go to this. There we go. Diane, Holly, Mary, Michelle, Linda. Thank you guys all for joining me. I appreciate it. And Carol, lots of people jumping on yet. Um, Lori and Judy, if you are on here, I have your prizes packaged up and ready to go out today with today's prizes because this was the week from, well, it was busy. It was crazy. So it seems like all weeks are crazy. But you know what? Starting next Friday, my week's not going to be crazy because I am heading to Florida finally. I'm going to go see my mom and dad in Florida. I'm leaving next week, Friday, and I'll be back the Friday after. My plan for my business here, I plan to not do a video next Saturday. So I will not be live next Saturday. I plan to use the week and have something ready to go for a video the Saturday that I come back. So the following Saturday, which would be the 5th of April, I plan to have a video. And then the week after that, I have a card buffet. So then I will be going later, but I will still have a video. So, yes, I'm sorry, Lori, that that Happy Mail didn't get to you today, or this week amid all of the crazy weather. Looks like we've got Diane joining us on Facebook as well. So, I have some Happy Mail. So this was the card that I was going to share last week, but I couldn't. I received this from Karen Roofing, who's one of my team members, and she's congratulating me on my new job. So I can finally announce it here. I have, after 29 years of working at Xavier Catholic Schools in Appleton. It wasn't even Xavier Catholic Schools when I started, it was Xavier High School. And then I morphed into a lot of different roles. Um, I have decided to leave and to go back to my home parish, St. John's in Little Chute, and I'm going to be the director of faith formation for grades 1 through 11. So I will do all the sacrament prep and stuff like that for them. So I'm still doing some teaching. I'm still helping catechists to teach and creating some curriculum for them and creating lesson plans and doing things like that. But I'm really, really excited. The thing that I'm most excited about is in my job that I have right now. I float between 4 campuses. So part of why my day is so busy is I can sometimes be like, one day this week, I was at all 4 campuses at least once, and some campuses I had to go to twice. Because I'm putting out fires and I'm helping teachers at all of those campuses. And so I spend a lot of time in my car, driving between the campuses aren't that far apart. But I feel like I'm getting in of my car and out of my car and hauling things here and hauling things there and getting ready for this activity with students and then having to haul it over to another campus. So I am not going to miss that at all. I will miss the people that I've gotten to work with, but I'm also excited for this new challenge. It also should give me some flexibility, some daytime hours when I work at night for something for this job. I can take some time during the day, which will allow me to do some of this in the day instead of always doing it so late at night. So I'm really, really excited. So I can finally say it on here because they announced it at church last weekend and I couldn't say anything about where I was going. So I didn't want to do this until then. And then I completely forgot to bring this card on. I received this from one of my customers. She came to my card buffet last week and she brought me this St. Patrick's Day, and it was this last Monday. So it was such a cute card from Sarah Marquardt. And then Mary, right before I was going on, I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't look for Mary's card. I think I filed Mary's card away in my thought that I had showed you her card already, and I filed it away. So I have to go through. I have boxes of cards, but I know which box it'll be in. I just didn't have time to do it yet. But she made a beautiful card with that hydrangea set, and so I still have to do that as well. Hello to all of you who are jumping on, and thank you all who said congratulations. I am excited. And then for prizes, okay, those were my Happy Meal. I'm getting all like discombobulated here, trying to keep up on the comments. um, for prizes for this week, so last week we made this little cute baby card that pops up when you open it. My niece still didn't have her baby, so we're still waiting. And we also made this little pop up pull out card, okay, that you open like that. And receiving these for commenting. So anytime you place a comment, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube Live, YouTube after the fact, I always put your name into a drawing. And receiving these this week is Nancy Clark. And Nancy, I'm pretty sure I have your address. I didn't even check because I was still writing down names and putting in numbers up until like about 10 after 8. All of a sudden I'm like, oh shoot, prizes. I didn't do prizes. And then for sharing. So anytime you share, so whether you email somebody a link, you share it on Facebook, whatever you do, make sure you write in the comments that you shared, so that I know that you shared, and you will also be entered into a drawing. And so receiving a pack of these neutral matte dots, we're going to use these today. Is Karen Karst. So Karen, I will get these off in the mail to you. And I actually have, no, I don't. I was thinking I had the envelopes printed. I don't have them printed. I had them pulled out with the little card that I put with it, ready to go, but I do have to print the addresses on them yet. And then for placing an order. So anytime you place an order, yeah, Diane, I'm so glad that I'm going to be joining St. John's as well. Diane belongs to St. John's Parish, so and she's one of my customers. Anytime you place an order, you get put into a drawing as well. And receiving this cute little resourceful rusty stamp set, one of my team members sent me a picture of a card that she made with this, and it was absolutely adorable. She used a fold that we used in our card buffet, and she wanted to show me how she reused my design in something else. So receiving this for placing an order last week is Tammy Marquardt. So Tammy, I will get this off in the mail to you. Let me set this aside. So for today, we are going to revisit a technique that I used a long time ago, and I haven't used it for a while. And when I saw some of our new paper, the black and white paper, I love black and white cards, and sometimes I like to add just a pop of color to it. So we're going to make a black and white card today, and we are going to be using a technique that you really don't need to have Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine or anything for it to use. It's pretty simple. It's uses it pieces the paper sort of. It's called a what is it called? Faux shutter or fractured or some of the names that it's been called. So we're going to be doing that. And then I have a Fun Fold Easter card along with a 3D project that would be a little Easter gift that you could give to someone. So let's go ahead and yeah, Becky, I thank you for saying that. Every person is replaceable, and there are some things that I do in my current job that I'm the only one that knows how to do them right now. So hopefully they're going to hire somebody before I'm done in June, because I'm working until the beginning of June. I didn't think it was fair to leave in the middle of the school year. That just wasn't right. And there are a few things that I need to do at the end of the school year before I leave to make sure that I leave them in a good situation. So I appreciate you saying that, but everybody is replaceable, I always say. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and switch my replaceable in their work, not replaceable in the world. Let's put it that way. Right. Let me go ahead, turn my overhead light off. Wanted to make sure I made that clear. Everybody is unique and needed, but when it comes to being at place for employment. That is what I meant. Okay, so this is the beautiful botanical textures. So this is the name of the suite. It comes with two papers. And when I did my to-go class, I used all of the textured, the things that looked like uh, baskets and burlap and all of that kind of stuff when I did my class. But this paper also comes with it. It's black and white. So this is what it looks like on one side. And then the other side looks like that, very different colors. And I think black and white colors look black and white cards look so nice. And so when I saw this, I thought of this technique that I used a very, very long time ago, and thought that I would try it with this card. So I'm going to go away from my comments for just a little bit so that I can give you some dimensions. So we are going to start with a card base that measures 4¼ by 11, and I already scored it at 5½. Okay, so we're going to do our different fold. We're going to do it actually portrait, but you could also do this landscape. I've seen it done both ways. I have two pieces of basic white that measure 4 by 5¼ you're going to need some of the designer paper that you're going to use, and you're going to need about 3 or 4 pieces that are 2¾ by 4½. Now, the reason I say between 3 or 4 is if you're going to use the front and the back of something, you probably can get away with 3. If you are going to be using different ones, then you're going to need 4 different ones, then you're going to need 4. I decided to use the front and the back, but what I found is that some of these scraps that I get left over when I cut pieces of this off are things that I could reuse. So I only cut 2 pieces so that I have them, and I'm going to see if I can get by with that. Okay, so I only have 2 full ones at that size. You're going to need some strips of black in this case that measure 3/8 of an inch wide. And I just cut 2 strips, and I'm just going to be using these and cutting them off as I use them. Yes, Becky, this is the same DSP that came in your card kit that you got as a gift. Yes, you got a half a pack of this if you ordered the entire, like I want it all. So you got the stamp set, the dies, the embossing folder, and then the kit. So if you bought all of it, I gave you as a gift a half a pack of this paper. So yes, that's the one. And then you have a 1/2 inch strip. It's by 4, but this is longer than 4. I'm just going to trim it when I use it. And then I ended up, that's all we need for our measurements. Yes. I can go back to my comments. All right. Thank you for, hello, Lisa. Sorry, I just saw that. All right. Then you need either a square or a rectangle. I ended up using the middle size. So it's the third one from the biggest one, and it's the third one from the smallest one. These are stylish shapes in a square. If you don't have these, I said you could do this project without having to have a stamp and cut and emboss machine. This is just 2 inches by 2 inches. It's just a 2 inch by 2 inch square. Here, this might be more helpful if I put it on here. Okay, then our pop of color, I'm going to let you guys have a vote. I should have one more in here. There it is. I'm going to let you vote what you would like for our pop of color. Do you want our pop of color to be yellow? I'm going to just do not their real names because then you can just add one color. Yellow, red, blue, or pink. We'll call this one pink. It's Petunia Pop. But do you want it to be yellow, red, blue, or pink as our pop of color in this card? I just didn't want it all black and white. I thought, let's get a pop of color in there. And these measure 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. So you go ahead and start. Ooh, it looks like we got a lot of reds right off the bat. Reds and yellows. All right, so what we need to do for this card, I'm going to start with this and one of these. So we're going to do our stamping. All right, so I like to use my grid sheet. This is where I really like to use my grid sheet because I want to make sure, I want this to be in the shape of a rhombus or a diamond. Okay, so let me put this underneath here so you can see this, but then I can't see my grid. So Hopefully you can see that okay on there. I want to make sure that this is lined up straight. So I put it on my grid to make sure it's lined up straight. I'm going to make this a sympathy card because I don't know about you guys, but I have gone through so many sympathy cards in the last probably 6 months. I am completely out of sympathy cards. I don't know how that happens. And that's the type of card you want to have handy so you can grab it quickly and send it to someone. So I'm using our country flowers. There's this with heartfelt sympathy that's in there. And then on the inside, I'm just going to do the sorry for your loss. They've got some really nice praying for his comfort and things like that. I decided I just wanted the sorry for the your loss on the inside. And then I'm also using, I don't think I put that stamp set here. I'm using, let's see if I have it out. I do not. I'm using the stamp set that goes with this paper. See if I can find it quickly. I actually kind of cleaned up. I don't know what I did with it. I had it. Oh, you know what? I think it's waiting for me to clean. Oh no, it's right here. I did have it handy. This is the textured notes. We're going to be using this stamp right here. Okay, looks like red is winning. Red or pink? Pink, yellow, red, 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 yellow, yellow, red, 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 red. Okay, I think red won. All right, so I'm going to use some Memento ink, and I put this just in one of our white stamp pads, and I'm going to take out that with heartfelt sympathy. And I'm going to stand up to stamp this. Okay, and then that little stamp that I showed you from the textured notes, I'm just going to, and again, I'm going to stand up so I can see what I'm doing over my camera. Just adding a few little sprigs of that around there. Okay, so it looks like red is winning. So that is going to be layered on here. How do you like that? Okay, there is the red, which I think right now is probably the winner. It's close. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put that away. Let's take out this piece. We will stamp our sorry for your loss. And that is all the stamping we have to do. What's the difference between StazOn Memento? That is not a foolish question to ask. The Memento ink is an alcohol-based ink. Actually, no. The the StazOn is a permanent ink. So if you're going to be using our markers or anything like that, you want to use StazOn. If you're going to be using our alcohol markers, which are our blends, you want to use the Memento. If you use the Memento, it won't bleed like it would if you use the StazOn. Hopefully that makes sense. So StazOn is permanent. The Memento, even though this says that it's pigment ink, it's really not. Okay, this would be if it's white, but I just took the Memento refill and put it in here because I like this foam pad better than that like linen-y type pad that the Memento ink pad comes in. Hopefully that makes sense. I probably didn't explain that all that well. No, okay. Then let's go ahead and layer this on here. Let's see, what do I want for an adhesive this morning? We'll go ahead and grab that. So again, this layering square is 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. So if you do not have a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, or you do not have any square dies, you would just cut that at 2 by 2. Okay. Then I'm going to take my other white, and again, I want to somewhat set this here. It doesn't have to be completely centered, but I want it to be straight. So we're going to go ahead and attach that in the center of our white layer. Okay, then we have these strips. Now you can decide what you want to use for adhesive. You could use liquid glue. You can use, I'm going to just use my seal since I have it here. I'm going to use the silicone mat because this glue does not stick to it. You can pick it up. So if I go outside of it a little bit, it's going to be okay. All right, I'm going to line this up to one of the sides and I'm going to go all the way to the edge of that end of the square and set that down. And I'm going to turn it over. This is where you want to have, it's going to get a little inky or sticky. I'm going to cut this off. I want that to be straight. I think I'm going to go to this end where I know it's straight because I have a hard time cutting a straight line. Okay, then I'm going to line this up to here and go butt it right up against that square and adhere that piece. And then again, I'm getting a little bit of glue on here, but that's okay. You can always take a little bit of alcohol, rubbing alcohol afterwards to get that glue off of your scissors. Or one of my team members said that she uses one of these little brushes and just rubs it over like this, and it takes the stickiness off too, because this rubber eraser is meant to remove adhesives. I had never done that before. Good morning, Joan. I know I hadn't either, Joan. So I pulled out this technique because I'm like, I have not done a card like that in a really long time. And I really love this. So I thought, I know I've done it before. I think I even did it as a creative challenge a long time ago. But I'm like, I'm going to pull that out and use that with this designer paper because I just love this designer paper. Okay, and we'll cut that off. Now I could use this inside piece, but I'm not really good at cutting a straight edge, and I want the end. I would have to go put it in my paper trimmer if I wanted it to be really straight because I just struggle with that. Okay, and we're going to line that up. So we're just going all the way around the square and just lining it with this one minus 3/8 of an inch. You could do a 1/2 an inch. You could do a 1/4 of an inch. You can do whatever you want. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to take our designer paper. I'm going to see if I have pieces that are big enough. That one's not. This one could go in here. So these were leftovers that I had when I made my sample. So those are big enough and they cover. So I think I'll just need, let's see if this is big enough. Nope. So we'll need, that's not big enough. So we're going to go ahead and need this piece and this piece. And that's where we're going to put those. So I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive in this section. You could use liquid glue here if that's your thing. I'm going to go all the way up to the corner and butt it right up against that and set that in there. Do the same thing. So I only used 2 designs and I used the front and the back of both of those designs. Okay, and you want to make sure you go right up into the corner. And you really wouldn't have to do a pop of any color. I thought instead of just doing all black and white, I want to do a pop of something. You guys picked red. But you wouldn't have to do that. You could do this all in black and white and you wouldn't need to have that pop of color. Oh, Melanie, the birds are singing like crazy this morning. Ours are probably crying because it's so cold. It's so cold here for spring, but I'm glad that your birds are singing. I wouldn't know because I couldn't have a window open to hear them right now. But that'll change when I go to Florida. Looking forward to that. Like I said, I'm going to go. My aunt I'm just cutting around. I just turned it over so I could see my white paper, and I'm just trimming around the edge of that. And this is where you can now keep these little pieces and see if they fit in on another card. So don't throw those away. You could use those. I have these. I'm thinking some of these I could fit in and use them for another card. Isn't that pretty? It's just so like easy to do, but yet create such a neat background. And then let's add a piece of this across the bottom. And again, you could cut this right at 4 inches. I just happen to have this strip left. It was just kind of sitting there, and I'm like, oh, that's like the perfect width that I need. And it's a 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to take that and line it up against my card. I have it long enough that I could do it across the other way. I could do it the long way if I wanted to. I'm just trying to get this straight. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so this is going to go on the inside. So my aunt had surgery on like the 14th. So last week, Thursday, she had surgery. So she had part of her tongue removed once before because she had cancer and it came back. And so they had to go even deeper. So she is in an incredible amount of pain. She's a nun, so she's at the convent in Green Bay, which is about, for me, on the side of town that I live in, Appleton, and the side of town where she lives in Green Bay, it's about a 40-minute drive for me to probably get there. So they couldn't get the bleeding to stop one day this week, so they had to take her by ambulance to the hospital. So I'm going to swing by today to visit her. My mom and dad being in Florida while all this is happening, I thought it would be nice for her to have some company. So I'm going to stop there. I was going to go tomorrow, but we're supposed to get snow tomorrow. And I am such a wimp as I get older. I am not going to go in the snow. I'm going to add some of these black dots. Now you could add them here. I'm going to put them in the white where they can kind of be seen. And then I'm going to ask you, do you think, should we put a bow here or should we leave that off? I was going to put another one over here. Should we put that bow on the top there or should we leave that off? It's black and white. I could even color it with some red. Do you like the bow or not? You love the pop of red. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys like the pop. Some are saying the bow. So here was the one that I did without the bow and that I did with red. Here I did it with yellow, but I switched it up a little bit. Instead of putting the yellow in the center, I put the yellow around the edge. So you can kind of decide what you like. If you like it where it's more prominent, like we did here, or if you like it, the pop of color that you add on the outside. I think people are saying that they love the bow. So I'm going to go ahead and add the bow. Now, if you're putting this in the mail and you're worried about extra postage, you could keep the bow off. The other thing that you could do is you could take, let me show you. Let me see if I have any sitting right here. I might have some sitting right here. I do. Sometimes I leave some of this stuff sitting right at my desk. Maybe what we do instead of this bigger bow, although it is in black and white, black and vanilla, maybe we just do something like this. Let's see what this looks like. Let's move these closer. Give you an option here. Should we use baker's twine or should we use a ribbon? Do we want it a bow, but we don't want it as big? Or do we want that big black and white? So we could do the baker's twine and put that there and kind of let that hang down. We could trim that up a little bit. Baker's twine or ribbon? Baker's twine or ribbon, what do you think? So we've got the baker's twine is this, and then the ribbon would be this. What do you think? Baker's twine, ribbon. Baker's twine, ribbon. Ribbon without. Sarah still likes it without. We've got ribbon, ribbon without. Twine. Twine gets lost. Ribbon, ribbon. Okay, so we're thinking ribbon. So I'm going to put it up high enough so that we still see that stuff coming down. So there we go. All right, you could color this red if you wanted to, or if you're Sarah, you could keep the ribbon off. I kept the ribbon off when I made it last night, but I also look at my greeting is a little bit going like this. Kind of got to hold the card like this to get it straight. That's when I'm like, I need to use my grid paper. All right, so that is our card number one. Let's take our envelope and let's take this. Instead of using designer paper, let's go ahead and take this and make our own designer paper. Just going in different directions with this stamp. Here, and then I'll do one more over here. All right, so we just made our own. I don't like what I just did with that last one. Let's see if we can put some. There we go. That looks a little better. All right, so we made ourselves our own envelope, little decorated envelope using that stamp. All right, that is our card number one. An old technique revisited with some new designer paper. All right, let's clear this up a little bit and let me bring in what I need for card number two, which is going to be an Easter card. And I'm going to be using some of these stamps from the Faith collection. We're going to be using this little fun, like glow. We're going to be using these lilies. And then this is not for this one. That's for the next one. Okay, so that's where we're getting that. And I forgot to grab where I got the back greeting, which is going to be, or the inside greeting. It's a happy Easter that's found in a set that has Be My Valentine. It has a birthday, happiest of birthdays, and I can't think of the name of the stamp set, but I will let you know. I'll like put it in the comments afterwards because I didn't pull it out before we started. Okay, hello, Mary. Good morning, Karen. Karen, you won this morning. I'll be sending some happy mail your way. All right, let me go away from my comments and go to my banners again so I can find, this is our first one. So we are going to start with a base for this card. I saw these cards all over the place and I'm like, I have to figure out how to make this. So I had one in my card buffet and everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's so much easier than it looks. And I said, right. So I'm going to demonstrate it in case you've been seeing it around and you wondered how to make it. So this is garden green and it measures 3.5 by 5.5. And then we're going to have some lemon lolly to go with that. Don't those colors look nice together for spring? Okay, this measures 5 by 5.25. And then on the 5-inch side, so it's weird. Usually you put your longer piece up there, but on the shorter side, you're going to score at 1, 1 7/8, 3 1/8, and at 4 inches. Okay, so that's going to be what's going to make kind of the pop-up for our card. All right, then we will also have a piece of, let me just look here. I got a lemon lolly that measures 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. And this is going to be for our kind of like our inside greeting, but it's really going to be on the back of our card because there really isn't an inside for this one. All right. Then I have 3 1/8 by 1 1/4. That is going to be this right here. So 3 1/8 by 1 1/4. And I did that also in the lemon lolly. So I gave you all the dimensions of the lemon lolly stuff. Okay. Then I have I'm going to give you all of the dimensions of some garden green. There's a lot of layers to this, but you could take some of them out, and I'll explain how you would do that when I start to put it together. So in the garden green, I have a 1 1/8 by 5 1/8. I have a 1 1/8 by, that one's shorter, I got to get that, 3. Okay, can you kind of see where we're going with this? Oh, look at that. I'm giving you a hint. I have 2 pieces that are 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I have 2 pieces that are 5/8 of an inch by 5 1/8. Okay, so those are all of my layers. Now, you could really do away with these layers and make this your designer series paper if you wanted to. I just added a bunch of layers because I love layering. Okay, then for our designer series paper, I have a piece that measures 1 by 5. And I'm going to put these kind of in the same order that I did the other one. So 1 by 2 7/8. So that was this back here. It's just 1/8 of an inch smaller. Okay, and that's there. And then I have 2 that measure 3/4 of an inch by 5. Those match up with this one, or these 2. And then I have 2 that measure 1/2 of an inch by 5. Okay, so that's going to be with those. All right, and then that's it. I have a little scrap here for some stamping, and I have this for the back of the flap of my envelope. So this is what I need for all of this card. I'm going to go back to my comments. All right. So we are going to be making, if you've seen this anywhere, it's a little pop-up cross that's going to go on here. I'm going to go ahead and do my stamping so we have all of that done. Where I'm going to do the stamping, I cut out, let me go back to my banners and take this banner off. There we go. Thank you, Melanie. I cut this out. This again is the the second, I think. It's the second or the third circle in the stylish shapes. And then this, we don't carry this anymore, but I still have one. It's a 1 1/2 inch circle punch, but you could do one smaller of the stylish shapes and that would work as well. Okay, so where we're going to be doing our stamping is on this back layer, this biggest lemon lolly that doesn't have any score lines. And we're going to be doing it on this lemon lolly, and we're going to be stamping on this scrap of white. All right, I've got all my dimensions written over here so I could remember where everything goes. All right, on this piece right here, we are going to take that Happy Easter. I will, like I said, I will print, or I will let you know which stamp set I got this from. It's, I believe it's in the online exclusives. I hope it's still available. I'm pretty sure it is. But it has a birthday, it has a Christmas, it has a New Year's, it has an Easter, it has a Valentine's Day. So it has like every holiday that you can think of. So I'm using Garden Green ink, and I'm just going to stamp the Happy Easter across the back like that. And then on this, I'm going to take the He is Risen from that Faith. What is it called? I just put it away. Faith Collection. And then I'm going to take a little bit of our crushed curry. I wanted something just a little bit darker. And I'm going to take this little kind of like this ray, like he is risen, since this is kind of on the cross, and I'm going to put it there and there. Okay, it just kind of adds a little, kind of like a sparkle or like ray to it, like a ray of light, kind of. All right, we're going to be covering some of that up a little bit. So I'm going to set that aside. And then on our scrap of white, I'm going to take our Memento ink. And we're going to stamp 2 of these. And we are going to stamp 1 of these. Okay, I thought those, even though they're not the exact same kind of flowers, the flowers that go with this paper. So this is from the Lovely Garden paper, and it's that Thankful Garden is the name of the stamp set, and it's really big flowers. But I really liked these lilies, especially for Easter. But I thought that the colors that were in these, I could get away with using these. Now, through the magic of TV, there are dies to cut this out, and I have those cut out for you or for us. For this, not for you, but for us. So I've got these cut out that we're going to be using. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my Daffodil Delight. I think this is a dark Daffodil Delight. And I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow to the center of these. Okay, so that we bring that yellow in. Now I could have used Lemon Lolly, but I kind of liked the fact that it was just a little bit darker. Okay, so to kind of help you see that a little bit, there we go. Just a very little bit of yellow. All right, we are ready to put this card. I'm gonna set this over here. Actually, why don't we go ahead? I'm gonna add a glue dot to these. I'm gonna put this one on the inside. And I think I'm going to wait until I have this actually on the card to add these so I know where I want them. All right, these are all just a lot of layers. And I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, why didn't she do this ahead of time so we didn't have to watch her tape layers together? I wanted you to see how quickly this can go together. So we had the biggest layer that was like this. Now, if your paper's directional, this is the one where you want to have it in landscape. Okay, so that's going to go on there. And I have 1. And if you could use liquid glue on this as well. All right, so this is where you could take this layer off if you wanted to. You wouldn't have to put, whoops, I'm sorry that what pack, DSP pack is this? Michelle, this is the Lovely Garden. It's the new one that has the hydrangea. It's the purple and blue card that you did at my house that you copied. It's that one. So, all right. Hello, Aunt Mary. So I'm going to go ahead and hello, Amy. All right. I'm going to layer these on here. Got another one here, and I could use my silicone mat. These are actually, that one looks a little bit wider than the other one. They're supposed to be the same. And this one's going to go on here. Okay, so we've got all those layered. See, it really didn't take all that long. All right. On this, we're going to put, this is our place to write our greeting, and that's going to be on the back. Now, if you wanted to, you could put a lemon lolly layer, and then you could put white over the top and stamp it on that and stamp this and not add the little, have to cut that out. I didn't want to add one more layer to it, so I left it like that. Okay, our cross is going to pop up. So this is the longer beam for our cross. So we want that to pop up. So that's going to come up this way. And then our other two score lines are going to be folded the other way. So we're going to have the mountain, mountain, and then the valley, valley is on the outside. So it's valley, mountain, mountain, valley. Okay, like that. And I'm going to make sure that I give this a good burnish with my bone folder here. Has anyone else seen this card around? I've seen it all over I had seen it all over the place. I'm like, I'm going to figure out how to make that card because I really like it. I hope it's not too difficult. And it really wasn't. It was really easy. So this is going to go on here. I just got to make sure that I have this right here. Yep, like that. Okay, let's go ahead and add. I wanted to make sure I didn't mess up the measurements at all. Okay, so this is our center one. It's our widest one. So that's going to go right in the center here. Okay, and then these two wider ones are going to go on either end. Whoops, I got that one. I don't know if there is an upside down, but this one kind of looks upside down because the leaves are going in the wrong direction. Ooh, Jeanne made this on a regular card and mounted it on and with white inside. Okay. And then she wrote inside. Awesome. Yeah, you could put it on a regular card base as well. Okay, we're going to put this. So I think this is kind of dimensional a little, or directional, not dimensional, directional because this looked like it was upside down the way I had it. All right, and then that's going to go there. Okay, so we're just filling in all the spots. And then what we're going to do is this is going to go on to this like this. So that stands up. So our cross is going to stand up in the center. So I'm going to start on this end and I'm going to adhere this section. I'm going to line that up so that I have an even border on those three sides. And then what I want to do is I want to lay it flat so that when it goes in my envelope, it's going to be laid flat. If I try to tape this without laying it flat, chances are it might not lay completely flat, and then I'm going to have problems running it through or getting it in the mail. So, or getting it in my envelope. So I want to make sure that I'm setting this down flat. Okay, so that goes there. Then I'm going to add a little adhesive where the cross section of my cross is going to go. And now I'm going to use my grid paper again. I have to make sure that I don't go past 4¼ inches because I have to make sure that it fits inside my envelope. So here is 4¼ I want to make it centered, but I also want to make sure that this doesn't go past, here's 4¼ right here. Okay, so there is our cross and it stands up like this. All right, and now we want to add this to the center of it. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere my tinier circle. I think I'm almost out here. I think I am out. Nope, got a little bit left. No, I don't think I do. Look at that orange. Get one little piece off of it yet. And I didn't want to raise this up because it's already got a lot of dimension to it. So I felt like it could just go straight. And then let's use some glue dots again. Oh, thanks, Kay. Yeah, Karen, I don't know who came up with this, who originally came up with this idea, but I think it's brilliant how it stands up. I'm going to put these over here. Let's see, I think I'm going to have them go this way. And then this is going to go down in the corner. Like that. Okay, so I still have those little beams coming so that you can still see, he is risen, and then our happy Easter on the back. Oh, I just love whoever came up with this. It's really ingenious, I think. But you could go without the green extra layer on there. You could put this right onto the yellow if you wanted to. You could make that white. It really is an easy card to make. When I first looked at it, I was like, oh gosh, that looks intimidating. But when I watched, and I don't even remember who the person was because so many people have done this card, and I've seen it in so many different colors, um, usually for Easter. But you could make that as a sympathy card as well, or thinking of you, or really anything that you would want to. But I thought, I just love that. So I'm going to go ahead and make a matching envelope to go along with it. But it was so bright and springy and cheery, and I thought, oh my goodness, I love this. So there is our cross, and it lays flat to go in your envelope, and we measured it to make sure it fits in your envelope. You may have to put extra postage on this just because there's several layers on there. That's why I didn't pop either of these things up. I put these down with glue dots and put that down with regular glue as well, so that I didn't have to worry about that. All right, now let's make a little treat box to go with this. That's what we're going to do next. This was a box that I made for those who purchased my to-go kit. So I'm redoing it in some different colors because I did theirs in pecan pie and some of the that textured type paper. All right, so we're making a treat box for these. Now I saw this online. My grandson is getting confirmed in a couple of weeks. Oh, that would be perfect. Denise, you could make those for your first communion. Oh yeah, put a host on the circle and wheat on the back. Yes. That would be a perfect first communion card. That's awesome. First communion, confirmation. That would be awesome. Okay. So I found somebody who all I did was do a Google search or a YouTube search. I can't remember which one it was. And I put Stampin' Up, um, the textured paper, and then I put gift box. And this popped up, and it was a pizza box that held this. Now, I wanted to taste these because I ordered them on Amazon and they came to me, and I'm like, I hope that these aren't like stale, you know what I mean? Because they obviously are from a different country. They're in a different language, kind of. So I was, and the person who demonstrated it was from, I want to say she was from, I don't know, like New Zealand or something like that. So I'm like, I hope to God that these are okay. They have a little thing where you can pull them out, and they were nummy. I had to try them, just to make sure I wasn't gifting anything to anybody that was really bad. So I did try them, but I just did the search for, I put manner, and then I don't know what that word is, wing. And then I did a search, and they came up, and I found them on Amazon, and they were delivered to my house. So there we go. Um, I've already cut a couple of these out for us. And let's see here. Let's go ahead with the dimensions of our box. So I have to go away from my comments here for a minute and go to my banners. And okay, this piece measures 5.5 by 9.25. All right, this Scoring that I did was on the long side. So when I put the 9 1/4 inch up on the top, I scored it at 3/4 of an inch, 4 1/4, 5, and 8 1/2. Okay. Then on the short side, so on the 5 1/2 inch side, when I put that on the top, I scored it at 3/4 of an inch and at 4 3/4. Okay, so those are my dimensions. Then I wanted it to match my card. So this piece measures 3 3/4 by 3 1/4. And then you have for the sides, the front and the back, and this is the top, and then the front and the back and the sides, you're going to have two pieces that measure. I got to see which one's which here. These are 3 3/4 by 1/2. And then these right here, and some reason I have three of those instead of two. These are 3 1/4 by 1/2. All right. So what you're going to do is before you fold and put it together, I would put all your designer paper on. I'm going to grab another one of these because that one is just about empty. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to adhere this to one of these sections. And then my littler ones are going to be on this side, a little bit shorter. So this is the 3 1/4 inch size ones. And this is 3 1/4. And then this is going to be the 3 1/2. And this is going to be 3 1/2. Look at how easy that is, right? Granted, I had these cut already, but see if I can put these in here straight. There we go. All right, we are going to go ahead and burnish on all of those score lines. We've got our two end ones. And this is going to make, I think I said a pizza box is what it's called. So it's going to look like a pizza box where you've got the bottom, then you've got the top that comes, something that comes over the top. Okay, and now we've got to do some trimming. So I'm going to go ahead on each of these sides. I'm going to cut up right up to that 3/4 inch score line on each of these. You know what? I can take this comment away and I can go back to, or banner, and I can go back to my comments. Oh goodness, I think I just froze. Okay, I'm back. I don't know why it freezes like that. I think it's because I'm getting a text or I'm getting a call or something on my phone. Even though I put it on Do Not Disturb, I think that once that comes in, it freezes up for a second and I don't know why. I am going to just take like a little sliver off each of these so that they fold in a little bit nicer. Just these three little tabs on either side. And you know what, if you do this, if you cut this like in your living room, you're going to find those all over your floor. I try to keep them on a piece of paper while I'm doing it. You know, like if I'm making a whole bunch of them and I'm doing it sitting in front of the TV and my recliner or something, I have a piece of paper to try to catch them because otherwise I find them all over in my house. They end up in Lila. Okay. So that's how we put that together, or how we cut it. Then this is our cover. So this is going to be our base. So this is going to come in here, down here, and make a little box. So I'm going to put adhesive, and I'm going to grab, whoops, things flying everywhere. I'm going to grab my tear and tape. It's just a little bit sturdier. You could do Seal Plus. Seal, I did mine with Seal, or you could do use liquid glue. Liquid glue works great too. You just got to make sure you wait for it to dry. Um, you could do it with Seal, but I'm always a little worried. I usually try to grab the Seal Plus. You don't want your box falling apart. All right, so I'm going to line up this cut line with that score line and make it a corner. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Line those up. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the back. I'm going to line up the cut line with the score line. Make sure that it's a 90-degree angle. Former math teacher here. Okay, and then we have to do the same thing up here with our top. We're going to take that and put that in. Little piece. Could have done those all three at once. And Denise, you were talking about maybe doing that as a first communion card. I can show you. This is the one we did. So you could do it in the lavender if you wanted to. I have seen it with the that yellow designer paper. It looks really pretty with that. Just yellow and white. So you could do any designer paper that you really have. Look at this cute little box. Let's see if I can get this in here. There we go. So it's just a little pizza box where the cover comes over. So if you want to, you can just look at this. Fits in there. Absolutely perfect. And just close the cover of the box up. I'm going to take a little bit of this white ribbon. I don't even know what, I think it's about 3/8 of an inch or half an inch maybe. I'm going to make a faux bow with it. Ooh, not bad for not having a ribbon scissors there. And I'm actually going to set this down and throw a little bit of, I didn't get my, I have to get my tape dispensers back on my desk from my card buffet. Needless to say, I had a few cards that I had to make for people because of different family situations that came up. And so I still have some of the stuff on my table because I have, let's see, I think I have 3 cards that I have to make. I think in total there's like 8 of them of the people that I had to make them for. Okay, then we're going to take and put this here. We're going to copy our, not copy it as exactly. I don't think for an Easter gift I want to put "He is risen" on the box. I just didn't think that that was, there we go. Put that over there. Should we hold that in place? I'm going to put this up on, whoa. I didn't mean to take that off. I should have kept that on. Let's put another piece over the top. I don't know what I was thinking when I took that off. I just want that for the tape. I'm going to put this up on dimensionals. Okay, let's move it this way a little bit. And then I'm going to use that other stamp set that I grabbed out here before. And I said, oh, I don't want that one yet. That's for later. And now I don't know where I put it. Here we go. This one right here has the word happy and it had the word Easter. So I'm going to, again, take my 1 3/4 inch punch. I gotta punch this yet. And a piece of lemon lolly that'll go on there. And again, I'm going to take my garden green and I'm going to stamp the word happy in the center. And I think I'm going to put Easter a little bit off to the left. because I cut one of those flowers. Where did it go? Here it is. A couple of those out. And I thought I would see what it looks like. I haven't made this one yet. I'm just designing. I mean, I knew how to make the box, but I haven't made the label or anything to go on it yet. This is all like on the fly. Like, I know how to make the box. I just got to come up with a label. I'm going to put my dimensionals on either side of my ribbon. So that it's not completely uneven. Probably wish I would have put that a little bit more off to the side, but it is what it is. It's where it is. I'm going to color in the center of this like we did with the card. And I'll grab a glue dot. We'll put that there. Do we need one up there? I don't know if we do. I think that might look a little busy. I think I'm just going to leave it just like that. Happy Easter. A little treat. You know what I forgot to do in all of these is I was going to add some Wink of Stella to my lilies here. There we go. So there we have a little Easter treat. The ones that I made for, and I don't even have one left. It said thank you for purchasing the kit. So that was my little thank you to them. And it used some of the products. It used my favorite paper. It used this right here. Isn't that cool? I love that paper. It had that on it. So let's bring our little things that we made today in here. So we have our Easter card, which could be, like some have said, a confirmation card. You could make it into a first communion card and make that kind of put a host in there. And like Denise said, she's got a little thing of wheat she could put right there on the other side. How neat would that be to get a first communion card like that? And then we have our sympathy card. That's our black and white with just our little pop of red. Oh, all right. That was a lot of stamping in a little over an hour. Actually, the stamping was probably less than an hour because I did a little talking at the beginning. Let me see if I can come back to you. There we go. All right, here I am, really washed out because I have no overhead lights on. But thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you were inspired to do something creative today. I will take a picture of this stuff. I will add it to the thumbnail of the YouTube video. I did go back as many cards as I was able to do last week. Saturday I did. I have to find some of the other ones because they're all boxed away. And when I'm looking for those, I'll be looking for Mary's beautiful card that I boxed away as well. Anyway, I will not be here next Saturday, but you can plan on me the Saturday after. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have a great weekend. I will see you in 2 weeks from today, right here. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.